Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming into the room to join us for our this month's Equity Matters presentation. It is School Health 101, healthy tips for a new school year to get you all going in the right direction and making sure that we are giving you some best practices in terms of our students for school health. So I thank you all for joining us today. Today we have our two registered nurses for school health, and they are actually a part of our school health leadership here with New Hanover County. And I'll let them introduce themselves. On my left, I have Miss Owen Howells. How, Miss Owen?
Hi, good morning. I'm Owen. I'm a school nurse supervisor, and I've been with the county for 10 years. And this
Yay!
is my colleague.
Hi, good morning. I'm Susan Brown, School Nurse Supervisor, and I've been with the county almost 15 years.
Amazing. And you'll notice that they're both shared in the same room. So on when you're looking, I'll just say curly hair is Miss Owen and straight hair is Miss Susan. So if you have any questions, those are the distinctions between the two. So we're gonna just go ahead and get right into it because we want to be mindful of people's time, and I like to start on time. I thank you all for joining us today. Let's talk about what is school health. Can you tell me exactly what school health? Because that's such a unique a unique concentration, different from it's a part of public health, but it's a different subset of public health. So what exactly is school health?
Glad that you said that, Fawn, because it is a unique concentration. It's a complex specialty, and where our nurses are rooted in mainly assessments, and we support the WISC model, which is whole school, whole community, whole child model. It's a nationwide model, and it encompasses all of the important facets of a student's life so that we make sure that we're addressing physical health, nutrition, of course, health education, social emotional climates, physical environment, and the list goes on because we aren't just treating the child when they're in school. We are treating them when they're in school, but we are treating every piece of that child, social, emotional, physical well-being. So our school health nurses are very attuned to, when they do assessments, to address all of those components.
That is very interesting. I didn't know it was that detailed, and I often did have questions because I was like, okay, well, is it just because if I come to school and I get hurt, or if I have maybe nutrition, dietary restrictions or medication, I just said, okay, we just go to the nurse. But I didn't realize that there was actually a science behind it, opposed to just a nurse being at a school. So thank you for sharing that and breaking that down so people can have a better understanding of it. So with that, let's go right into, so what specifically is a school health nurse? How do you all manage and take care of the students at New Hanover County schools?
Sure. So we are
County schools, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. So school nurses in our county, we're grounded in ethical and evidence-based practices. We strive for continuing competencies. We have national accreditation certificates for about a quarter of our staff. But we do meet with our school system, who we're contracted with, New Hanover County Schools, to meet the child where they are, to meet with families and teachers, and sometimes teams of student support, in order to facilitate education plans, healthcare plans, emergency action plans, for 25,000 students in our county.
Wow.
We do care coordination. We promote health and advocate for care if we need to. We ensure referrals to agencies to assist with things as routine as glasses, and also primary health care. We work with our social workers, our counselors, our administrative teams to ensure that all of our students have equal opportunity to access the school day and at the full complexity, so that they can get the most out of their academics and social networking that they would receive in the school setting.
So with that, I wanted to make a distinction. I'm glad you brought that up. So in New Hanover County, the school health nurses that we have, they're not employed by New Hanover County school system. Am I correct that they are employed through New Hanover County, but not through New Hanover County school system? How does that work for you all?
That's correct. So we are public health nurses at heart, and we are employed by New Hanover County. We have a foot, I like to always say this, we have a foot in each organization.
Mhm.
Of course, our home base is as a public health nurse with New Hanover County, and we are contracted into the schools 220 days out of the year to support child health.
Mhm.
We are all registered nurses, which is an exciting thing for us, and we're very fortunate to have a school nurse or coverage of a school nurse in every school in the county. Our Board of Commissioners, we thank them,
Yes.
especially this year, that we were able to keep each position.
Mhm.
It's important for the well-being and the health actually of each student, but also of the school.
Mhm.
Because often we are the funnel for information that we may not be able, we're not the expert in, and we can funnel that to the people who are the experts. So it is very much wraparound care, and yeah, we enjoy it.
That's really good to know, because it's interesting the dynamic of it, but because some counties do, county school systems. Let me be specific. Some school systems actually do have their school nurses, which are employed by them. And as you stated, the setup for us is ours is under our public health department within our New Hanover County enterprise, which is different. And so there are certain guidelines and things that you all have to do and to abide by. New Hanover County that does not apply because you're not an employee of New Hanover County school system, but you do adhere to the contract that you all have, and abide by the school system's contract. So I thank you for going over that. Some people may not have known that. Getting into some questions, so we can just kind of be mindful of that time. How can I help my child manage stress, especially with the demands of homework and extracurricular activities? As children grow, they begin to take on more extracurricular activities than when they were in the wee little elementary ages, moving up to middle school. And so, of course, sleep habits are going to change, and stress is going to change. So, what are some tips that you can share to help the child and the parent manage stress as they are going through their academic years?
Well, you hit on one of the most important, and that's sleep hygiene. We know that children need at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and teenagers need even more than that,
Oh,
which
wow.
is right. So it's not well understood in some populations, or even in the schools. Teenagers need the most sleep. Their bodies are changing, so you want at least 10 to 12 hours of sleep for teenagers, and they're the hardest ones to get to go to bed.
Because I'm sitting here like, why is my teenager sleeping all the time? And I'm sitting here thinking like,
Yes,
is he doing something he don't need to be doing?
right.
So it's really because he needs to be sleeping more.
He
Okay.
needs that sleep. That is their body's way of growing and maturing. So
Okay.
it's okay if they sleep when they're supposed to be sleeping, not of course when they're in school, but yes, we
Mhm.
want them to
I think you'll notice too, just as a happenstance, we start our day later for our high school and middle school programs in order
Mhm.
for that sleep. That's, I'm sure, a part of the science and backing into having a later school day, in addition to the transportation services that we provide as the school system provides. But sleep hygiene is one facet. I'm glad you've sort of deep dived into several layers of these managing stress things. So sleep is certainly one of them. Balancing academics and social and potentially athletics, all three of those. And sometimes athletics and social sort of blend in with one another, and that can be a beautiful thing. Not creating a lot of demands for the student at the onset, to meet everything. They're not going to always be perfect, and that's okay. It's a practice, not a perfect. And often say that when they're trying to figure out what classes to take and how many and what are you doing after school. So encouraging them, talking with them, planning with them alongside them goes a long way. They have teacher support, they have nursing, counseling, but a parent's involvement is absolutely key to ensuring that they know expectations, obligations, and how to move forward. So scheduling alongside your child could be extremely important. Ensuring enough calories throughout the day can be really important, and your subsequent questions may touch on some of these other things, but ensuring hydration, and if they have medicine on board, that they need to be taking that at the routine time every single day to ensure that they get the most benefit from their school day.
And what Owen really touched on is structure. All kids still need structure. Of course, as they grow into teens and young adults, you want to give them some opportunity to make decisions with your guidance. Let them fail. Some of that is if they learn how to fail now, it will be easier for them to take on those extra obstacles when they are adults. But structure is an extremely important part of all children's lives.
So depending upon the type of stress that the student is experiencing, what type of recommendations could you possibly be seeing that you all would do or recommend?
I'm sorry.
Right. Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
So depending upon the different types of stress that the student may experience, are there different types of recommendations that you would give to the parent or to like for a class? Would you recommend that they see the mental health, the school counselor, or less study or less school work or what have you? Is that your realm? Are you able to do something like that?
We would certainly create efforts to, with parents' permission and involvement, of course, refer to the services that are available to the school setting. We have mental health therapists in each of our schools. We have, of course, outside agencies. There's guidance counselors, there's social workers, especially in our middle and high schools. So we would work with them, and of course, with the family involvement, if we needed to escalate to some other more therapeutic resources. Definitely.
But that's another great point, Fawn, is that usually, and I had said this earlier, we are usually the first point of contact to recognize and assess that maybe it's not a health issue after we've ruled out everything that could be a health issue. Then we can take a deeper dive into who we really need to refer to for their expertise.
Yeah, and I thought about that just because sometimes, let's say children might have a panic attack, and that panic attack shows up in different ways. Their nose might bleed, they may become, short of breath, and so it lands them inside of the school nurse office. But once you start having those conversations, you realize, oh, okay, this needs to go more towards a counseling situation opposed to actual public health nurse. And so I didn't know how much restrictions or restrictions or free way, I guess you could say, leverage that you have in terms of making that type of recommendation for students.
I'm really glad you asked that. There's so much somatization, meaning things that happen to the body when you're experiencing stress, overwhelming stress, anxiety, panic attacks, any of those things. And sometimes it just starts with, in an elementary level, a headache, frequent stomach ache, nausea, and then can lead into more things like what we said just now, panic attack. And so that somatization, and what we do as nurses is, of course, the assessment piece and the intervention piece, which is what you're suggesting here, is if we're seeing this routinely, we are digging, we are deep diving with that child, with the barriers they may face at home, at school, socially, what's going on, and can we support them and facilitate care for them? And so, yes, we do have that opportunity. We don't have authority. We have to, suggest and work with the family and the other stakeholders here, including administrators, coaches, mental health therapists, and also get permission from the child to move that forward. So we are very sensitive to those needs, and that really is a specialty that we have. We see certain patterns in students, and we're able to sometimes be the first person to understand what might be happening here.
Yeah, and that's what I actually thought. I think that that's what I was trying to get at, is that sometimes our school health nurses are the first to see certain signs of certain issues that you are then able to notify the parent and say, you know, they've been coming to school frequently and saying that they've been having headaches, or they've been coming to school and saying that they can't see very well, or stomach aches, or what have you, and that you all end up notifying the parent. And ultimately, maybe it's just something simple like getting them glasses, you know, because the headaches actually are because they're not being able to, their vision is impaired, or, you know, something that's easier fix, so to speak. But because you all are working with our students on a regular basis, you're the first person to actually see some of these presenting health issues or symptoms that our students have. What can I do, or what are some what can I do to make sure we just talked about this, but my child is getting enough sleep with the early school start time? One of the things I'll give you that I've done is at 10 o'clock, my son has to come upstairs and bring me his cell phone. And so I have a basket. And so he has to come upstairs, and I'm like, I don't care what time it is, what you doing, it don't matter. And he's 17, but he has to bring me his cell phone, bring me his tablet, and bring me his laptop, because what he'll do is he'll
Yes,
Absolutely.
he'll grab
Vibrate.
right.
I learned his trigger and how he does it. And so I end up saying, bring me all three. And in the morning before you go, you can come upstairs and come pick it up. So just asking you all the same question.
We have a lot of conversations about this with parents regarding just what you were talking about, removing those components from their bedrooms. A lot of students or children now have TVs in their room. Move the TV out. It's not a great way to go to sleep. It has blue light, and blue light keeps you awake. It keeps your mind awake, even if you are trying to actively go to sleep. Remove the phones, remove the tablets, any kind of gaming devices. And be savvy too, that some kids know how to turn, if you shut off Wi-Fi, they know how to turn it back on or figure out a way to connect. So educating yourselves on internet information so that this child can outwit you, but not having them in the bedroom is the number one thing. And setting a time and a basket, just like you said, is a perfect solution to helping them get ready for bed and be more mindful and peaceful during that transition.
Yes. I just read something this morning about how reading a book before bed for children is one of the best ways to unwind the mind from a day that's filled with technology and a lot of other things and voices, and following what we would call sleep hygiene, including a calendar. And I'm actually going to share with you all one of these examples that is just a really simple. This is more for a elementary school student.
Okay.
But you can certainly find them for more adult students, and have a little checkoff sheet here. They're easy to find, and there's a lot of different versions here. So as you can see, you can find something that's either written. If you put it on their device, then realize they'll have their device to check off the box here. But these can include hygiene items like dental hygiene care before bed, rinsing off the face with a warm washcloth, and then coming to bed with a book or some quiet time, some small, like soft music, and having a normal routine bedtime. And I know with athletics that can change depending on how well we're doing. Go team. But trying to have a consistent and consistent bedtime routine that is the same, and potentially have your whole family in the same type of ritual. Creating those rituals now will be better in the long run. I know some of us are college bound, and so things might change as we go. And some are already taking college classes. So just understanding that really having that time without device, a solid schedule of at least 8 to 10 hours a night can really do wonders for the child. And then of course, waking up with a nice, healthy, hearty breakfast.
Bed, bath, book.
Yeah, there it is.
bed, bath book bed.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay. Yeah. The 3 Bs. Yes. The
That's
bath
right.
book
There you
bed.
go.
That's a good, it's funny how when you're younger, you do these things just automatically, but the older we get, we fall away from doing those things and not realizing the importance of doing like bed bath book. Um, like you shift your bathing schedule to waking up early in the
Waking up.
morning and taking your shower in the morning,
Right.
right? When the benefit of taking your shower at night, it relaxes your body, and just calms you down and resets you and hydrates you.
Mhm.
So, when you go to sleep, you can sleep restfully, and so I like the fact that you reminded us the importance of bath, bed, and book, so it can reset your evening and you can have a calm evening. Plus, your mind has the space to be able to process, and just calm down. So that's really important when it comes to sleep. Is there any other tips that you can think of, especially for our wee little ones that parents are dealing with, first timers that are first going, for our new ones that are first going to school this year? This is their first time going to school.
As far as I think ritual, just
That's
like
okay.
Owen was saying,
Mhm.
create the rituals. They will be life lasting if you start them early and spend time with your kids. A lot of our attention is on other things, but being mindful at night, maybe you shut down your phone, you shut the TV off, do a puzzle, read a book with them. They are sponges and they want the parents' time.
Mhm.
And TV won't mean anything to them if you make a ritual of, okay, the TV goes off at 7 o'clock. We're going to read and cuddle on the couch for a half an hour. That to them is the best kind of time spent. And it also creates really long lasting bonds between the parents and child.
I like that. What are some healthy lunch and snack options that we can pack to keep our children energized throughout the day?
I actually love this question. I tell often as a clinician at an elementary school and a high school, that was my favorite thing to ask. So you come in 10 minutes after the bell rings and you tell me how bad you're feeling, your stomach and your head hurt. And sometimes that's task avoidance. Sometimes there's something really going on. Oftentimes it's, well, what did you eat? What did you eat for breakfast? And have you had a good breakfast? And well, I don't like breakfast. And those routines and speaking of young families and young children, it is so important for them to have a healthy and hearty breakfast. There are choices at New Hanover County. They offer breakfast every morning. If we're running late or anything like that, but for lunch and snack options, I do think it's important because even if they miss the breakfast, if you're sending them with healthy carbs, whole fruits and veggies, and a protein, then they can snack. And listen, there's oftentimes a nurse would say, bring your snack in and sit here for 5 minutes and get your calories in and then see how we feel in half an hour. And often that works. So anything, cheese sticks, peanut butter and crackers, if you're not allergic to peanut butter, and just hearty grains, granola bars, homemade or packaged are fine. Eggs is a great thing to start your day off with if that's available to you.
Not a honey bun. Yeah, I can't start with a honey bun. I said I
Well,
can't.
I mean, if there's an egg on the plate, a honey bun is fine, or a little Pop-Tart here and again. But
Moderation.
yeah, there is some moderation. But again, those nutrient dense oatmeals and hearty grains are going to be long lasting nutrition that keeps you fuller longer. And so those are very important with a protein, particularly throughout the day.
Another tip regarding that is New Hanover County Schools has several free and reduced lunch programs for the children to take advantage of. Some children will come to us and say, I didn't like what was on the plate, so I'm hungry. I didn't eat that. Parents go through the menu. The menus are on the New Hanover County Schools websites. And they can preview for the week if they want to go through the week to say, hey, what's for lunch tomorrow? What choice are you going to, what are you going to choose? If they say, I don't like any of it, then if you're able to pack a lunch with your child and give them the things that they like. Of course, we want to keep in mind all of the nutritious foods that can be available, and make your child part of the process of packing their lunch.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's and they feel ownership over it, and they may eat it if they know that they packed it. Of course, give them choices, this or this, and then let them choose one. And then that ownership will facilitate them being proud of themselves and empowering them to, feel comfortable in their choices and then eat.
Do you all make nutrition referrals? So if it comes to where you've learned that there's some challenges nutritionally or dietarily at home, do you make referrals to maybe Nourish NC or the food bank? How does that work?
Yes, we do actually help facilitate referrals for Nourish. We can do that ourselves. We can also have the social worker at the school help facilitate that. So we typically just have, if it's something that we noticed and assessed and feel like we might just ask the family if they would like that support, and then we provide that for them. There's also dietitians in the area that we've referred to if we've noticed things like avoidant restrictive. You can come talk to us if you're concerned that your child may be having some dietary things. Picky eater isn't necessarily just picky eater. It can be something more. So, having those conversations with the nurse is important. She can get you to the right resources, whether it is to support you with actual supplemental food so that you have enough to get through the weekend or the weeknights for your children, and or the pantry, and like you said, other agencies in the area for nutrition counseling.
That's I'm glad you answered that. Also, when it comes to nutrition, is there any specific are there certain things that children can bring to school, or restrictive? Are there certain restrictive items that they can or cannot bring to school?
So we follow New Hanover County Schools policy. Pre-Ks, they cannot bring anything into school. No birthday cakes for the whole entire class. They're becoming very aware of dietary restrictions for kids, allergies, those kinds of things. But if you follow the New Hanover County Schools websites and ask your receptionist, they can also help. But yes, we try to manage what comes into the school. We want everybody to have a healthy diet, and we necessarily don't want, or it's not that we don't want, but it's not best practice to have parents bringing in fast food or other kinds of items like that when we have healthier options available in the schools.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand what you're saying with that. What should I do if we talked about this in the beginning, but just kind of going a little deeper? What should I do if it seems that my child is anxious about going back to school the next day? So we've started school, we're in, it seems like it's going well, but then all of a sudden you see a little shift in their behavior, like, oh my gosh, it seems like they're anxious about going back to school. Something seems like it may have happened. How can we address that? And how does that, how do you all address that?
Sure. Go ahead. We see this a lot at all levels, all age ranges. And so my first suggestion is to have a conversation with your student. And have them talk with you about what may be potentially bothering, whether it's in the school setting or something outside of the school setting or something internal within themselves. So many times in younger ages, I find that it's maybe the new social setting, like they're starting a new year, the friends are different, the teacher is different, the school is the familiar component. So maybe it's walking by and waving to your teacher from last year that can help facilitate some movement into getting used to the new year, right? There are interventions that your nurse is really keen at observing and finding, oh, this is probably likely to being a new environment for the student. And it can get deeper. So if you're concerned that your child is having deeper anxieties related to it coming into the school building or being in the new rituals that are occurring in the school setting, do reach out to a trusted adult in the school. So if it's the nurse, that's fantastic. We would love to support you in that. There's also other places here. Maybe it is you're most comfortable with the previous school teacher, and she'll be happy to refer you to the person needed, or work with you to bridge that with the new teacher.
Mhm.
And you can find different avenues through the school system with the counselor, the social worker, and your administrators to assist you in these endeavors. I often find it helpful, and I know now that the school year has started, this might be a little too late, but you can still do this. You know, you have a long weekend coming up. Take the student by the school while it's empty. Let them walk around on the pavement.
Well, that's a
I don't encourage using the playground equipment while there's nobody there to monitor that, but
yeah.
certainly do a walkabout or drive to the school. Maybe practice getting up in the morning at the same time. Maybe it's an earlier start than you're used to since the summer break, and just practicing that with her or him one-on-one, with the student one-on-one a couple of times, just to get them more acclimated to what their roles are here, the participation in the school day, and starting the school day.
And a time when we see this stress and anxiety about school really increases during end of grade testing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That is a very normal reaction where we will start seeing lots more children in our office.
Mhm.
What I would recommend is normalize the test. It's
Okay.
another day in the life. This is not some big make or break kind of a test.
Mhm.
We just really want parents to know the more anxious you are about that, and we know it can be anxiety inducing, the more anxious your child's going to be about it. So if you just continue the same routines, if you've already started the school year off like we were talking about with great rituals, good bedtime routines, nothing will change when EOGs come around. The same rituals and practice will still be in place during that time. And if you don't show and show your anxiety, your child won't. We hear a lot about that, about the pressures of it. And the teachers, it's important to them that the students do well on the EOGs, but it's just another test and it's just another day. And that's a good, important message.
That is an excellent message, because I didn't think about that. I didn't think about, I mean, I do know that I think about my own child and the stress that he's like, oh my God, man, we about to have these EOGs, mom, kind of thing. And I just hearing that from him, but I didn't make that connection of how it's symptomatic in the body. They're they might start getting postnasal drip, who knows, different types of things that are happening to them just because of the anxiousness that's attached to the EOGs, and any other testing that the student is experiencing. I do know that I dealt with test anxiety when I was in school. So yeah, that's a great point to bring up. We do have a question, and it's from Ms. Penza McNeil. She says, as a grandparent, what is the guideline for picking up your sick student? Time frame. What would help the nurse as far as picking up a sick student? A telephone tree, a reliable person who can pick up the child on demand. So there's several questions in there. So let's start with the first question. As a grandparent, what is the guideline for picking up your sick student in terms of the time frame?
Well, of course, as soon as possible. Your child doesn't want to be sitting with the nurse feeling really ill. What they want is their parent or grandparent or guardian. They want to be home. So as soon as a parent can pick that child up, the better.
Okay.
One of the most important things about that is making sure also that you have your contact information always updated with the school and with the school nurse.
Okay.
We often have times where we can't get a hold of anybody, and often those kids are looking at you for what's the next step? Why am I still here? So we want to get them home as soon as possible. Things that would send a child home from school are a fever greater than 100.4 or greater.
Okay.
If the nurse is recognizing that maybe the temperature is 99, but that student is different, that's where our assessments are really important. We can sort of assess whether or not we think this child is going to have a successful rest of the day. If we really don't think that they're going to be able to manage, we send them home.
Okay.
I would also suggest here too, as far as the time frame, I know sometimes it happens towards the end of the day. It might be we're riding the buses and all of a sudden we got sick and we need someone to come right away to pick up. And we want to be reasonable. You know, some parents live and grandparents live further away than others. And so the nurse will try to accommodate your request. Realize there will be other children coming in and out that she has to triage and prioritize as well. So it really does make sense, and it is best practice to ensure, starting the year off right, that Power School is updated with the correct contact information. And we are allowed to contact you if you're on what's called the pickup list or the list of contacts that's been approved for picking up. You will need to bring your ID with you to check out a student. And oftentimes there will be a cutoff to when you can pick your student up during the school day for appointments or routine things when you're coming early for dismissal. And so you need to check with that specific school. It's usually about 30 to 45 minutes before the dismissal bell rings. Of course, there will be times where there's outliers. The child gets sick at the very end of the day. Usually it's reasonable if you're close by to pick up in the next half hour. But the nurse will work with you, and so will administration if the nurse has to leave, to ensure that someone's with your child until they can be picked up.
And part of that, the key part of that, is communication between the parent and the nurse. If the parent is on their way, or if they're an hour away, we would appreciate knowing where you are in the process. Well, I'm finishing up an appointment. I can be there at. That's really great help for us, because then we know how we can better manage the student in the school nurse room. So communication all the time. Phone numbers change. Please let the nurse know. We want to make sure your child is safe in school. That's our priority. And the parent, guardian, grandparent, they are all a piece of that puzzle.
That's right.
So is there a direct number for the school nurses, which is different from the actual school?
There are usually extensions associated with each school nurse. However, she may be with another student. So it probably is best to call the main office number. And if not, then oftentimes I would give my extension. If I knew it was going to be a busy office moment and it's dismissal time, I'm not going to request they call back the school knowing it's dismissal. So I would give my personal extension in the details when notifying. And they're usually also in our email signatures as well.
Okay. All right. Because we do know sometimes it's a challenge navigating the school system when you're calling and trying to get through the directory and pressing 0, 5, 6, 7, 8 and all these things. So if there was an extension that works so much better, because you can put that in and be able to get into it. Another question I was thinking about is when we talk about activity levels for children, these days, as we know, many of them are becoming more sedentary because they're so attached to their games and their phones and et cetera. So how can we encourage students to be more physically active? And not necessarily from a sports perspective. Sports is amazing, so we're not, talking bad about sports for those that are sports. But we have some students who are really not sports inclined, and that's not their thing. But we still need to ensure that they have a level of physical activity that's incorporated with them on a regular basis.
I just read this morning, or heard on the radio this morning, about all populations in the States having a lack of vitamin D. So even if they're outside picking flowers, recess is a great time for them to socialize and play. But there's also an opportunity in most of the schools, I would say, if not all of the schools, for clubs and social organizations. We have Girls on the Run in our schools. We've got the Links program in some. There's lots of ways to get involved. And like you said, it doesn't have to be sports related. But one thing about that is physical education or physical activity doesn't just have to be an organized sport. Parents can play a big role in this by, again, spending time with their child, taking a walk around the block. Parents, if they have access, they can take them to the parks. We in Wilmington have great access to the Cross City Trail and those kinds of things. So get out there with your child and spend time in nature. That will give you the vitamin D that everybody needs to stay healthy. What else are?
Yeah, I want to highlight our parks. We have, I believe it's 33. Sorry, Parks and Rec, if I'm wrong in that. And you just opened a new one down on Carolina Beach Road. It has a beautiful
nice
owl.
Yes.
activity center, and it would make me excited to go play on the jungle gym. So, again, I love the vitamin D component of this, that will increase energy. It'll create some feel good hormones, pheromones for the family. It will be a bonding experience if it's family related, where you're outside. And even if that means you're not actually on the jungle gym with your kid, but you're there outside with them, and you guys do a small walk, even if it's just to and from the car. There are, like you said, clubs. Dance club is a big thing at some of our elementary schools. Running club is a big thing, where those sports are not necessarily team participating sports. They're they build self-esteem. And a lot of these clubs, people don't realize you don't have to be the fastest. It's literally here to teach your children how to pace, how to eat right, how to drink well, stay hydrated, learn their body, listen to their cues, mindful awareness, breathing. And all of those opportunities are available in our elementary, middle, and high school population. I've even seen pickup games of sidewalk chalk and jump ropes, and even pickup soccer at some of the things in our older settings. So there are opportunities to do things that are not necessarily like soccer and a team sport, but that you can get together and socialize and do something outside.
Right. It doesn't have to cost any money. The key is exposing your child to all kinds of opportunities that you're able to, so that they can get that sense of community, camaraderie, advocacy, self-advocacy, and empowerment.
And a question that I didn't put on here, but I'm sure that you all are easy enough to answer is, how do we accommodate for those that may be dealing with disabilities inside of our school system? Is there a specific, how do we accommodate for that, and how do you all address that?
Thank you for asking that
that's
question.
important.
They have a very robust and engaged special education department at New Hanover County Schools. And I don't want to speak for them, but I will say we do a lot. The school system does a lot to ensure access, to ensure availability, opportunity. We have Boosterthon and certain things that are for fundraisers, that we have all-inclusive events. We have Special Olympics events that are hosted at the school sites, including Hoggard, and Legion Stadium, for instance, and other places. So I believe there's a lot of opportunity here, of course, to learn from and grow from students with different capabilities and abilities. We have fostered a really collaborative relationship over the years with our special ed department, in ensuring that we review the students' care plans. We're building that out even more robustly by having one-on-one assessments, where supervisors and team leaders are actually meeting the students and the families, having a one-on-one assessment to ensure they're placed with the correct care that they need in order to facilitate a full and robust educational platform.
Yeah. That's great to know. I know that you all do a great level, but I didn't want to not address that for those that do have children that are dealing with able-bodied or different abilities when they come to school. Is there anything that you all want to let us know? What are some other best practices that we didn't address that you all think is important for us to know? Any events that are coming up that's important that our community needs to know about?
Sure. We have one of our last events for beginning of year immunization and health assessment requirements is coming up on September 28th, and that will be from 8:30 to 1:30. And that is a time if your child is needing immunizations for entry into school, or any kind of health assessment for entry into school, which are state requirements. That is a time that you can come by and we can help facilitate the immunizations that you need. You can also call and register ahead of time for that. And the phone number is 910-798-6500. We have facilitated, this will be our third one this year, to help provide access for parents, guardians who may not have other capabilities to get them to a physician or a health home. So please stop by. We will be here with smiles on our faces, ready to give your child what they need.
And so say the date and location and time one more time.
Sure. Date is September 28th.
Mm-hmm.
It's from 8:30 to 1:30
Mm-hmm.
at 1650, that's 1650 Greenfield Street, right here at our HHS building.
And so when they come in and check in downstairs, they'll just say, I'm here for the immunization event, and our staff will get them directed in the right space. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Okay. We do have a couple questions. So I see, what makes a great day in school nursing?
What isn't a great day in school nursing? Oh gosh, there's so many things that make the day great. First of all, I think, and I'm going to speak for all of our nurses, I feel like the children are what make the day great. That's why we are school nurses. We're there for the health and safety of the students. We love to see our students come by, and oftentimes they'll come by just to say hi because we've developed relationships with them. I would also say in that same vein, the relationships with the families. It is about our student in the school, but boy, do we develop some really great relationships with our families.
I am sure.
Yeah. So,
It's so funny. So
yeah, case management, and not even case management, just knowing who the parents are and getting to know the whole family. And then you see the different ages of, here's Bobby in 5th grade. Now you've got Jane in 3rd grade, and then you get to see the whole trajectory of the family.
yeah.
For me, I think that's what makes a great day in school nursing, is just caring for the kids. That's why we are school nurses.
Mm-hmm.
I do also want to shed light on the success stories, things that we've been able to accomplish. And of course, and we can name many, many things, but sometimes as simple as glasses for a child can change their whole outlook. It can not just affect grades, it can affect attendance, boosts in self-esteem. When you see that maturity level happen once they've gone over the bridge of the anxiety that they may be experiencing in the first few weeks of school, and see them, really, really thrive. And some of them, moving on to high schools as captains of teams and doing really great things, off to college. And so seeing those success stories and just watching and witnessing the lives of children and their families is really the treasure of school health across the lifespan.
And watching them, gosh, we could go on and on about this, because I'm like, oh, and another thing, but watching their autonomy grow, their body responsibility, because when we have a pre-K student, they may not even know their name. And then as they grow and they are visiting the school nurse, we're teaching them how to manage whatever condition they may have. So if they were taking liquid medication and now we've progressed to pills, we help facilitate that, help teach them how to do that. Diabetes is a great example of that. If a student has diabetes, usually always the care in the beginning is very acute and we are extremely hands-on. But then we have to hand that back over to the student because they're going to be living with this the rest of their life. So to watch that progression and to see them maybe in elementary school, and you run into them in high school and they're this thriving young student, that's the best thing.
For sure.
So 2 things, Ms. Panza has let us know that the telephone number is 910-798-3500.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. That's why we got our team that's going to be here to help us. And Ms. Benita Moore also wanted us to know that it is by appointment only. You actually said that it's not walk-in. So please call the 910-798-3500 to make your appointment for the immunizations with that. Something that came to my mind that I wanted to ask you all, and I guess just because as a woman, how do we address those times when puberty hits for our young girls, and we're getting those first periods that are coming through, and it happens at school. How do we take care of that and kind of calm her nerves that life is life, and this is just a part of being a young lady?
Well, we're always including the guardian in that to let them know, because that's an important milestone.
Yes.
So, and kids can come in with all different emotions. They can come in with fear, they can come in with excitement, or I don't even know what's happening to my body. But we always, Yeah. We always start with, let's call your mom or let's call grandma or whoever the guardian is. And I usually let the child speak to the parent.
Mhm.
And then I follow up with the parent talking about what the expectations are in school today. Is mom able to come and facilitate that? I or the school nurses are happy to facilitate what needs to be done after that. And sometimes your child has a father or a grandfather, and there's a male aspect to that. And we can navigate that very easily, just having the conversations with the parents on what their expectations are for us. Sometimes I have facilitated complete conversations because fathers may not be, or even moms may not be comfortable with that. That's our job. And we're happy to do that. But again, the communication with the parent is the key so that we know where they are in that moment and how they want us to help support them.
I asked that question because for me, my school health nurse was like everything for me when that happened to me. I lost my mother at an early age in life, so I was not aware that it was coming. And so when it did come, I was like, "What?"
Right.
And so, and then the first time that it happened, I thought it was a one-time situation. It wasn't until I got to school where it happened again, and I went into complete panic mode. And I'll never forget my teacher and how wonderful she was, my nurse, excuse me, at Trask. Middle school, who was so right, stood in the gap for me and got me together and just calmed my nerves. And so, like I said, there may have been other young ladies who had my experience, hopefully not as traumatic. But I just knew that my school health nurse actually played a great part of educating me and teaching me what was coming down the pike. So, yeah.
And we have supplies available for the students. So we can manage that in school because we manage it as women every day. So that's the other piece of that is we help to support the normalizing of it.
Any final thoughts that you all want to share?
I just want to thank you for giving us a little bit of a spotlight and allowing us to just highlight what our nurses do every day. We saw 80,000 encounters last year with our school nurses. So we are ready to go. We're ready to roll. We're busy. We're working hard to get care plans in order. And I just want to highlight how much work our nurses do and how much they love what they do.
Right.
So we're very eager for next year and this school year coming up. And want to thank you very much for allowing us to sit with you.
I agree. I have nothing more to say about that. We do collect data. So we are, as we are nursing, we're constantly collecting data and trends, not specific on specific students, but to see what the needs are in our community and in our schools. And then we can translate that and share it with our state consultant and health director to change practices if it needs to be changed. So it's very much a science and an art. We are very definitely keeping an eye on what the needs are of the students and trying to make change statewide.
I think it's important because I think one of the goals for me is to highlight when we talk about equity. For a lot of times, many people think that equity is only a racial perspective, but equity is in so many different ways. And equity shows up in terms of the different jobs that people have, the different roles that people have, and how actually the work that you do. So school health nursing is specifically equity because you actually really have to sit down and talk to your student and meet that student where they are so you can provide the services specifically designed and curated for that student, which sometimes it could be the same, but not always the same. So it's just showing and different ways that equity is shown and highlighted in all the work that we do and why it's so important and why New Hampshire County does such a good job at it. So we appreciate you having that conversation with us, especially as we are going into the new year, giving us tips on different types of snacks that children should need. Sleeping. I had no idea, honestly, that the older that children get, teenagers need more sleep. I promise you, I would be a bully to my son when it comes to all the time. I'm like, stop it, get up. So some of the information and much of the information that you shared was extremely helpful. So on behalf of New Hampshire County, I thank you for spending time with us and having this conversation. Hopefully we can do a part 2 later and give some more information at a later date. But we celebrate you and we're so grateful that you all have been a part of our staff for so long.
Thank you, Fawn.
You're most welcome. Well, y'all, it's 10:55. We're going to give you 5 minutes back. I hope you have a wonderful day and have a great Labor Day for those that celebrate, and be good to yourself. If no one else tells you that we care about you and we love you, we care about you and we definitely love you. Y'all have a wonderful day and thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.